guys, how's it going? Today we are going to do some work in the area right behind me. There are several things I would like to accomplish, but you will first notice that the stone pathway has been finished. You know, before our lane was much further in, before we redid lines and had the brick border put in, and so it sat back like 4 feet from the edge, and we pulled rocks back about to right here and just kind of redirected a little bit so it was a little bit more of a smooth transition to get it all the way to the bricks. So because that's done, now we can reposition the arbor. The arbor we had just set there temporarily, and it was a little bit too far this way. Like, not too bad. We didn't pull those pins up. Like the rocks were worked kind of around the pins, but we need to move them over like an inch. You gotta be kidding me, an inch. But it's so nice to have that spot just done. Now, something I may or may not do, these pots are looking a little tired. We've got some unplugged white salvia. It looks good in this container. It didn't quite keep up in this one right here. These dahlias got spider mites. I've sprayed them twice, but they're just looking a little weary. And I do think they will bounce, but it might take a little while. Plus, one, I'm a little bit ready for a change, ready for the change of season, and I impulse bought some petunias. They were just screaming fall to me. I couldn't help myself. So I've got to get them planted, because if we happen to have a short fall season, petunias don't last through a hard frost. Anyway, I want to make it worth it. We typically have long, nice, warm fall seasons. So hopefully we get, you know, a good couple of months out of these. The thing is, though, I don't have a lot of great plants to put with them. I tried different combinations of what I have on hand, so it might be like a partial job. That's why we may or may not tackle it. I think they look beautiful with these grasses right here. These are a panicum called Hot Rod that my dad just kept saying, if you ever see that, pick them up. I think they're beautiful. As fall approaches, they get more and more red, and they've got a beautiful seed head. So I think that would be a really nice look. It almost would look beautiful with the yews here, which I brought up to finish our little yew design. I guess I need to plug a new one in over here where we lost one, and then pop a couple more in. And I do want to trim these up a little bit more so they're not so wild looking. I think Aaron would prefer boxwood in this space, but I kind of think that's what I'm gonna do on the other side. And I want something different. I love boxwood, but I don't want them like absolutely everywhere. If we have a different option for an evergreen that can handle sun and shade, I'd like to do that. We have struggled with the water in this area. With these, I had a lot of annuals planted in this space last year that required more water than these wanted. And that's why like this little row of them struggled. In fact, I might even replace that one today too. You know, plants just get kind of a look when you know they're just on their way out. Anyway, you can see the yews that kind of curve around this part, and these that are in this shadier spot are way bigger, way happier. So I don't know if I'm just like trying to will these things to do well in this space or what. I don't know. But I've also got a couple of Royal Frost birch trees that we may or may not plant in here. I just kind of wanted to set them in this space to see what we thought. And we've got some Durvella that I think I'm going to pull out. You remember we had that wing of boxwoods or whatever, that hedge of boxwood that came out that at one point made sense, but then it no longer made sense and they were starting to die out. So we pulled those, which exposed everything behind it. And you know, I kind of think it might be nice to see the June snow dogwood trunk in there. It's not overly straight though, so it might drive me crazy to see that exposed. I don't know. It's gonna be one of those let's just see what happens sort of days. And it is beautiful. You can see it's overcast. We've got like 4 days of overcast, 2 of which we might get some rain, and all the temperatures are looking beautiful. It's gonna get 90 today, but most of the days over the next 10 days are gonna be really low 90s or in the 80s. But here's just a quick look at some of the stuff I brought up. Some yews right here. We've got the Royal Frost birch trees, and then the other plants we just looked at. I think the first thing I would like to get done though is this arbor. I'm gonna need Aaron's help for that. Okay, arbor is back. We did not move the pins. We decided it was close enough that it wasn't worth trying to heave those out of the ground. And it looks so good. I love having the arbor here. Now we have it flanked with the Royal Frost birch trees, which I think are beautiful. And I wanted Aaron to stay out here for just a minute so he could see if he liked the placement, because we talked about it, but you know, it's different when you actually get plants and put them where you're thinking. Sometimes it ends up not being the right thought, but I think this is going to be perfect. It'll help fill in this area with some more height because these get 40 feet tall, but they only have a 25-foot spread. So I think they're going to play nicely with everything around them. I mean, they will touch. We've got a locust tree there, but that's kind of what we want. We want to have kind of dense canopies going on. We also don't mind pruning too. And trees have sort of a way of communicating with one another. When they're planted close together, they just don't tend to get as big. So I don't know, I think it's going to be a really nice color variation too, because the Royal Frost has a more deep burgundy sort of leaf, and they'll have bright white trunks in the wintertime as they age. So you can see at this point when they're young, they have a little bit more of that cinnamon color, but as they get older, they'll turn that bright white color. I think the yews look really beautiful right there. And I ran back to the high tunnel and grabbed something else we might try, because why not? Wouldn't it be beautiful to have kind of like this little hydrangea alley right here? So these are firelights. They get quite large, which is okay. What is it, 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. And they're just such pretty color, and they're so low maintenance. It's one of the things, like I love roses and I love things like that, but they have to be deadheaded throughout the whole season. And I just kind of want to put some more of this kind of stuff in, that once they start blooming, you don't have to do a dang thing. They just look pretty the whole season. You go in and prune them once a year, occasionally treat ours with iron if they look chlorotic, like they're not getting enough. But that's it. And when you're comparing that against, you know, other things that you could put in for that kind of look, I think these are going to be great. But I don't know. Let's put them on the ground and see what we think, because I'm thinking they would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. We might only be able to fit 4 on this side, and maybe only 4 on this side too. So it'd be a short alleyway. It would kind of stop maybe on the other side of the locust tree, and then these would naturally kind of curve into everything else that's going on over here. But I think they'd be so beautiful. All right, guys, here's where we're at. It's looking so pretty, so absolutely gorgeous. This spot has been blank for so long that it's almost a little bit hard for me. I don't know why. It's like that, taking that first step to plant something in here, and these will get so big that we'll need some other things that get a little bit smaller, of course, and I still want to plant some kind of an evergreen. So you have to imagine that right about here, because while it's necessary to have these landscape boxes, there's an electrical box there as well, and hoses of course are a necessary thing, I would still like to mask that a little bit from the lane. So as we're driving down here, I don't really want to see that. And we could put the hose link lower, and we probably will. We'll take it off the top of the faucet perch right there and sink a pipe down in the ground, so at least I think it would lower it like a good 1.5 feet, and that would be helpful. But I'd like to have some winter structure here either way. But it can be a little bit hard to place things along a walkway that curve. They're not exactly placed between each yew, which kind of drives me crazy a little bit. In the end, it won't matter. But like right here at the very end, I want these yews to match. I want them to be precise, because that's what you'll see most. But you know, the spacing from this one to this one is a little bit wider than it is on the other side. But I just think it's not something your eye picks up on, but it's something I think about as I'm placing plants down. And sometimes in the end, when you can't get that exact precise measurement or that exact precise balance, it just needs to look good to your eye. That's all that really matters. And I do think this does. We'll also scoot the pots out, not today, but eventually, probably next year, when I plant some kind of a vine. Maybe we'll do a climbing rose here. That would be really beautiful. But we'll want to give that more space eventually. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start with planting the yews and the trees. We're going to figure out if we want to take out the Dorvellas or not. Maybe what I'll do today is just cut them back to see if I like the look. They'll grow back if it's something that I end up thinking, oh, I wish I would have kept those there. So we'll cut them back big time. We'll expose that trunk a little bit more. We'll trim up the yews. Then we'll put the hydrangeas in. Okay, let's do it. Okay, well, I mangled one of our water supply lines, but that's an easy fix. But I cut it good. I cut it from here all the way to here. My goodness. So I've got another little run of black drip tube and then 2 couplers we'll use to repair it.
Is it easy for you guys?
Yeah, you want to see how I do it?
Yeah.
So if you cut a supply line, this doesn't have drip emitters in it, which makes it a little easier. But you cut right at the end of where the damage is. But see, there's some soil in there, so I'm going to cut it back a little further. Still some soil. There, we're getting cleaner. Okay, that's clean. And then we're going to cut on this end of it. Soil. Soil.
No soil.
There we go. Okay, so we've cut our damage out. So we're going to put our new piece on with a 1/2-inch coupler. See that? It just knits them together like that, and there's no pulling that apart.
Really?
Nope.
Is it stuck?
It is on there really good. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. Whoops. That'll be about right. There we go. Minor snafu. Always got to have one of those. Things are going well. It's looking really pretty. I just wanted to stop for a second to give you an update where we're at. We are not going to do the containers today because I've decided to plant the grass outside. I think having a grassy texture up here would be really, really pretty. I was going to bring the hydrangeas forward a little bit more. You can see them sitting right there. But I think transitioning to something else in front of the birch would be a nice just textural difference and a nice step down in size. Because you know, these hydrangeas, they're going to get the 6 to 8 feet tall. They're going to fill in big time back here. And I don't really want that coming all the way out to the edge. I kind of want there to be a nice little graduation down to the grass. And I might even bring up a couple more and do like a little grouping of grass right here. I think it'd be really pretty for the winter time as well. But I'm just so pleased, you guys. So the yews are in, trimmed them up just a little bit, kind of like a training prune when you're just starting off with your boxwoods. And I showed him to Aaron and he was surprised. I told him, I just need to get out there with some pruners and I just need to put a little bit of a shape to them, even though they won't be like a perfect round sphere for probably a while. And I don't know how these are going to branch out and how they'll fill in versus a boxwood, but yeah, they just look like they have a little bit more structure, a little less free flowing. We'll leave the free flowing to everything that's back behind them. Also, exposing the June snow dogwood trunk. I think that was probably the right thing to do. But I think it was good just to cut the Durvellas down because then we weren't 100% committed to it. Plus, it is supposed to heat up a little bit more and I'd like to dig them out and either move them or give them to a friend. So we'll just wait and they can just sit there and, you know, do their thing until then. I'm going to have to move these roses too. There's Queen of Swedens right here, 3 of them. They grow so tall and thin. That could be because they're not getting enough light as well. So they just need to be moved out somewhere where they can get full on sun. And then we can continue on with, you know, filling up this area. But look at how pretty. Let's walk down the row real quick. Oh, also, before we take our walk down, I made sure that the birch trees were exactly the same distance from the arbor legs. They're exactly the same distance from the yews over and exactly the same distance from the bricks back to the trunk of the tree. Because even though our pathway does this meandering thing, I didn't want to jog a tree over further than, I don't know, it should be. I think that having the big pieces really balanced and a little bit more of the formal feel is the way to go, and then let everything else kind of do its meandering thing. Okay, so look at this. Can you imagine when these are big? And we've got a big rugosa rose, which has got beautiful hips. So that's where our hydrangea hedge stops on this side. And I think these have gotten bigger since we planted them. They're absolutely massive hips. Look at that. Oh. And this one wants to get like 7 feet tall and about that wide. So I think that'll be a good thing. And then we've got, some coreopsis and some pink echinacea, and we'll continue on. I'd love to have more of that pink echinacea all the way, like to this first hydrangea. Huge big drift of that. But if we turn to the left here, the hydrangeas stop where it gets too thin, and then we'll pick up with something else over here. Plus, I'm not sure the exact trajectory of how everything's gonna go over here. We're still not 100% solid on our decision on this front bed area. I feel like it's the wrong move to cut out too much grass. I feel like the grass needs to go all the way up to the house like it does right now. Been messing with the boxwoods over there just to see if we should keep the existing walkway. We've thought about taking it out and doing something a little bit different with the walkway. It might just be a situation where we pop those boxwoods in and at least we have something there. And I put an arbor that doesn't even fit over the walkway at the end of it just to see if I liked the look of it and the feel of it. Actually do. We need to get something more substantial and wider to fit that spot. But we might just need to get those things in the ground and just go with it for now. Because cutting out all the grass that we had intended on cutting out for this front area, it just, like in my gut, it feels wrong. And it's way too big of a commitment when we're not sure. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this project right here, but I wanted to turn around and show you what it looks like from this angle. Those trees flanking the arbor. Gorgeous. So, so pretty. I just love the look of just having stuff up here. Okay, guys, to finish this project up today, we have 10 hydrangeas to plant and 2 ornamental grasses. So let's do it. This is right where our old driveway used to be, right through here, and it is compacted. Okay, I'm not going to tamp any of these into their holes until I have them all set. That way, if I need to reposition a hole, I don't have to dig the plant out like on the other side. All right, you guys, we are done. It's looking beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to just keep going in this space now. I mean, look at it from this angle. I still need to water it all in, and we're going to rerun drip because you could see up there we had way too much drip around that tree, and so I pulled it out. You can see I've got it laying right there. So I think what we're going to do is tear all the drip out of here and restructure this area so we've got proper water to every plant and so that we don't have oversaturation in areas. And then we're going to remulch. So I think that'll look really good as well. Maybe I'll get in here and do a little bit more planting before we get to the mulching stage. But I am just so thrilled with this. Let's look at it from this side. Looking back toward the house. Oh, just starting to fill in. So let's take a look at this right-hand side here. We've got the grass to start things off. And this one, I can't remember how big it gets. I'm gonna have to look at the tag. So hot rod panicum, it grows 36 to 40 inches tall and 4 feet, not 4 feet wide, 2 feet wide. So 3 to 3.5 feet tall, 2 feet wide, hardy down to zone 4. So that'll be just a really nice accent. And like I said, we can bring in some more stuff, or we can save this for some type of perennial or something right in here along the edge. And then we have our birch tree right here looking beautiful. And we will limb this up as it grows, and as the June snow puts on even more growth, we're gonna keep, little windows carved to where you still have line of sight. I want little glimpses of, other parts of the garden. So I want to keep that sort of window open right there. And then we've got our 4 hydrangeas looking beautiful. And then on the other side, we have, how many did we end up with? 7. Oh, so we planted 11 hydrangeas. I thought we only planted 10. So 7 on this side, creating this nice, really beautiful swoop here. And then again, our birch and our grass. So then we need to have our evergreen in here, and then probably some red twigs or yellow twig dogwood, something like that, for even more winter interest in here. I think that would be absolutely beautiful. I've also got a couple more of those Mr. Smooth silver thorns that have the silvery blue foliage, and I think that would be really nice to have up here. And then we will plant the petunias, and I do intend on putting them here. I think they would like it here, but I used the grasses in the ground, and I need to go gather up some other things for the pots, so they look fine for now. We'll let them just do their thing, and in the meantime, we just get to enjoy all of this new beautiful interest in this flower bed. The only thing I think I forgot to mention was the variety of the yew, right? It's a Stonehenge Dark Druid yew. Maybe we can put the stats up on the screen, but I planted this original kind of swoop. I think it's been 2 seasons ago now. So this is their 3rd season, and I've had to replace ones here and there, and you can see why with the water issue up here. I think with this space, because it's so compacted, and I think that's what we're dealing with, because this was our driveway, our original driveway, the soil just was driven on and had gravel on top of it for so long that the water has a hard time like subbing out. It kind of just sits in this spot where it comes out of the drip emitter. So I think maybe some more targeted watering in this area rather than, overall with the brown drip tubing with emitters all along the way might be more in order, but we'll get that all dialed in. So hopefully our yews will respond a little bit better to that. But anyway, one last look at our project. Love it. A little transformation for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a great day, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.